I'm going to ask Ms. Rachel Azaria first. Do you agree with the IDF's claims, or do you have reasons to believe that that could have been an Israeli strike at the hospital? Because the Palestinians have alleged that this is Israel's way of trying to force an evacuation out of the Gaza Strip.
This would never be a strike from Israel, never in our life. I can tell you that my husband works in intensive care, children intensive care in a hospital in Jerusalem, and we receive on daily basis babies from the Gaza Strip that have heart problems, and we take care of them all the time. We never, ever would do anything like that. ISIS, Hamas, the people that we're dealing with, that is their way of fighting. They kill children, they kill elderly people. We do everything we can not to harm the people that are uninvolved whenever we attack in the Gaza Strip. But as you saw, the Hamas people that were talking about it, they said, thank God it hit that way. Thank God it hit the hospital, because that's how we can spin it over on Israel. All of the missiles are being shot from near hospitals and near schools. And that's what makes it very difficult for us in Israel. And every time there is any kind of attack, we need to be very careful, and we take all the measures we can to make sure that we don't harm the people that aren't involved in the fighting. But when we have ISIS against us, and this ISIS is not far away in the deserts, right around the corner. So we have to take the measures, and unfortunately, they keep shooting from hospitals. If Hamas would be fair enough not to shoot next to hospitals, the children in Gaza wouldn't have to deal with these problems. But unfortunately, this is what we have to deal with. But the babies from Gaza, as usual, are welcome to come to intensive care in Israel, in all our hospitals, to take care of the heart problems that they have. We do it all the time. We would never, ever hit a hospital. It's very misfortunate that Hamas is using their mistake, their incident, to accuse us.
Dalal IRIQAT, agree, disagree, because that audio recording actually has a Hamas operative saying it's God sent. Thank God it landed at the hospital. They are even confirming the shrapnel, saying it's local shrapnel, not Israeli shrapnel. The satellite images don't show a crater as an airstrike, because when there's an airstrike, there's always a crater because the missile lands there. Your thoughts, you agree, disagree with Rachel there?
Well, I think the Israelis are masters in misleading the audiences and in spinning reality. They have mastering this tactic for decades now. Let me remind you that when Shireen Abu Akleh, the fine American Christian journalist, was murdered, she was executed by the Israeli occupation forces, they said it's friendly fire. Until now, they didn't prove evidence. Later on, they labeled 6 Palestinian human rights organizations as terrorists. They said they have evidence. They never had evidence. Now, after this massacre of 500 Palestinian civilians, mostly women and children, the massacre was documented on screens. Israel found itself in trouble. So automatically they will go to misleading the audiences again. Unfortunately, the Western media outlets are adopting blindly the Israeli narrative. And this is what happens every time and then. What we are facing, allow me to contest your framing. What is happening is not a war from Israel against Hamas or against Gaza. The Israeli war criminals are waging war crimes against 2.2 million Palestinian civilians living in a big prison, 365 square kilometers, 1 million Palestinian children living in Gaza deprived from milk, no water, no medicine, no electricity, no basic human needs or human dignity or rights. This should not be tolerated. Diplomacy had failed the Palestinian civilians. Let me reiterate, it is the 2 million Palestinian civilians living in Gaza. Article 146 of the 4 Geneva Conventions obliges every member state to hold the Israeli criminals accountable. Netanyahu and his far-right government are the ones responsible to the level of violence and massacres that we are facing. Let me finish, please.
Yeah,
the
please,
Palestinian people have endured 16 years of deadly blockade in Gaza, deprived of basic minimum human rights. For 75 years, the Palestinian people have been struggling for freedom. We have endured all kinds of injustices of apartheid, of extrajudicial killings, of detentions, of settler colonialism, of confiscations of land, of settler terror, all under a framework of a prolonged military
Okay, now you'll have to yield. You'll have to yield, Dalal IRIQAT. You have to yield because Rachel has the right. No, Rachel has the right, but you also have to yield, ma'am. You cannot make it a monologue and a speech. You have to present your point of view, and you have to yield.
You are okay. Just go ahead.
You have to yield. Rachel, you want Rachel respond. I'm not coming in between. Rachel wanted to respond. Let her respond, and Dalal, you can then counter. Ms. Dalal, then you can counter.
Sure.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
please. Yeah.
I want to say a few points. First of all, we evacuated the Gaza Strip many years ago. And unfortunately, instead of turning the Gaza Strip with its beautiful beach into an amazing land that Palestinians can live there beautifully and enjoy their time, Hamas took over. Hi, ISIS, Hamas took over, shooting, bombing over hospitals. Why do they do that? Why do they do that? Don't they care about the babies that are born in the Gaza Strip? And the answer is that they don't care. You're talking about the electricity. Our taxes pay for the Gaza electricity. We do it because we care about the babies. And unfortunately, the Hamas people don't care about the Gaza babies. Not only they don't care about our babies, they don't care about their babies. Hamas, ISIS took over Gaza Strip, and they are torturing the people that live in Gaza, the children, the women, just like they're doing to us. But now they did something horrible to us, and we have to protect our babies. Unfortunately, instead of being pro-Palestinian, and thinking about the babies in the Gaza Strip, you are taking the route of horrendous people that slaughter babies, that shoot from outside of hospitals. Who does that? Who does that? Why would you take their point of view? Why won't you be with us to work together for better life in the Gaza Strip? So I know, probably you have to say that because you're part of this group. But instead of taking responsibility and working for peace in the Middle East, what you're doing.
Right. So you are drawing Rachel now. Now let Dalal respond. Let Ms. Dalal respond before we bring in our other panelists. Now, one point is that there is a Palestinian issue and there is the Hamas, which has been branded as terrorists. Now, any outfit that uses women and children as shields, or it is operating out of areas which are close to civilians, is not an outfit that needs to be backed by anybody. There is a two-state issue, that is Israel and Palestine, and there is no ignoring that aspect. And here on CNN News 18, Ms. Dalal, we've spoken to Mr. Prime Minister Ehud Barak, we've spoken to Prime Minister Ehud Olmert. Both of them have very strong advocates of the two-state solution for Palestine too. They've come out and said, but they draw a line there between terrorism and a political fight between people for two states. So there are two different aspects there. Yes, your response or your counter to Ms. Rachel, please. And then we'll go across to our other panelists who've been listening to the ladies. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Again, I want to clarify to the audiences that what happened in 2005 was a disengagement, which was not coordinated neither with the PLO nor with the PNA, nor with any Arab leaders. The Israelis, and I quote Dov Weiss-Glass, who was the aide of Sharon at that time, he said they are implementing a policy of formaldehyde. They wanted to do a divide and rule. They have been controlling every aspect and every inch of Gaza. Yes, they succeeded in our division, the West Bank and Gaza, and this is a setback that I see on the Palestinian side. But you to claim that you left Gaza and that Hamas is ruling, this is again a misleading, a big lie to the world. Gaza was living under a present for 16 years. The 2.2 million civilians, and I repeat, civilians who are entitled to international protections, are under full control of Israeli occupation. Like people in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, we have been suffering a 75 years of Israeli prolonged military occupation. You are talking about the two-state solution? The two-state solution is the position of the international community. It was the concession that the Palestinians gave to accept 22% of mandated historic Palestine. Why? It was an expression of our will for peace and prosperity for the two peoples. What did we get after 30 years of negotiations? A sugar-coated peace process that took us to years and years of deterioration. We are being surrounded by 750,000 settlers all around. You have killed the two-state solution. You did not leave any room.
But the political solution does not.
For the Palestinians
now, with your kind permission, ladies.
The world,
with your kind permission, ladies, if I may open up the debate
the Western media
to our other
has
panelists.
managed to
a
advocate
two-state
or label
solution
the
does
Palestinian
not
resistance as
justify
terror.
setting of 5,000 rockets or otherwise. Ms. Dalal, please yield,
So
please
the fact
yield, ma'am.
that the Western media and the Israelis continue with this misleading and the narration.
No.